Hey friends, welcome back. Thanks so much for being here. Sean from SGT Report. You know, I've often said you can judge a country by how it treats its prisoners. You know, our prisons in the United States are mostly for-profit prisons, and they are hellholes. Literally, especially if you're mentally ill, some of these folks find themselves in solitary confinement for 30, 60, 90 days or more at a time because the prisons aren't equipped to deal with people with mental illness. Folks, the entire system is very sick. But you know what? We can also judge a country by how it treats its elderly, its disabled, its vulnerable adults, of course, its children, and its animals. You know, to that end, I wanted to get Dr. Monica Marcu on the show to talk about her problems, the plague that is British Columbia's SPCA, that's the Society for the Protection Against Cruelty Against Animals, and other alphabet agencies. But before we do, I want to set the stage, guys. I don't know how many of you have been following the drama regarding the 400 ostriches at a farm in British Columbia. Let's just cue it up so you understand the tyrannical nature of what's going on in Canada, in British Columbia specifically. Here's redacted.
Well, Canada is turning into an authoritarian hellhole right before our eyes. It appears the killing of 400 ostriches is imminent unless someone steps in to stop it. Canada now wants to take away your guns and move towards a full digital ID system. You can't walk in the woods there without getting a fine. The RCMP and the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, the CFIA, which is a criminal organization of Canada, have ordered the killing of 400 ostriches at the Universal Ostrich Farm near Edgewood, British Columbia. These birds, of course, have been a viral cause in Canada right now. And the owner of the farm, Katie Pasitny, is begging because it looks like the RCMP is trying to get these animals and kill them within maybe the next 48 hours. Hopefully the Supreme Court will step in, but she's pleading for President Trump to try to help.
Mr. Trump, President Trump, this is a cry out, a plea from Canada. Please stop the slaughter of almost 400 healthy ostriches that are going to suffer today or tomorrow. We need a miracle. The world has been calling on a miracle.
Now, the CFIA has seized control of the farm. It's cut off access. It's constructing a massive death pen right now, complete with hay bales to exterminate these healthy birds. Today, we saw another truck full of hay bales pulling up, and there's trucks in the way basically telling them to screw off. And they, by the way, these hay bale trucks have no, like, they're covering up their license plates as well. Like, they're trying to hide. I don't know. I don't think these truckers really want to be a part of this. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think the truckers really want to be a part of this either. But you know what? Since the criminal international bankers are printing us into oblivion, people got to make a paycheck. So a lot of people will obey the orders. Folks, the only way out of this is to not comply. By the way, this is the same Canada that now eagerly promotes suicide, government-assisted suicide, for its veterans, for its disabled, and for those with depression. You can't make it up. Folks, this is the new world order. Are you going to comply? Let me bring on my guest. Her name is Dr. Monica Marcu. She's an American medical professional who was robbed, kidnapped, and almost killed by corrupt BC, SPCA, and local RCMP agents in Canada, British Columbia. Monica, welcome.
Thank you so much, Sean. I really appreciate your time and attention to this matter. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. And I just want the audience to know that in this case, we're not talking about 400 ostriches, innocent birds that are not sick, that are healthy, but that the Canadian government says must be culled because bird flu? It's preposterous, folks. And in this case, Monica is going to tell us about her 25 German Shepherd adult dogs and 15 puppies. We got a lot to talk about in this one because tyranny is at our doorstep. Monica, first tell people a little bit about yourself, and then let's get into your story.
Yes, thank you so much, Sean. Can I share my screen? Do you see my screen now?
I don't see it yet, but absolutely. Go ahead.
Our beloved family of German Shepherds. You can see that, right?
Yep.
Thank you. I'm Dr. Monica Marcu. I'm an American citizen living in Washington State. And a few years ago, we purchased a beautiful, beautiful farm, 155 acres of paradise, pasture, forest, hay in British Columbia, where we were planning to retire. And we brought our beautiful German Shepherds. These were world-class German Shepherds. These were our children. Me and my husband never had human children. We were married for 36 years. Unfortunately, my husband has passed away recently. And these dogs were our treasure, our family, our children. And we brought them to British Columbia. That was a big mistake. My story is way more tragic than what you know about the story of this ostrich, is because all my dogs, my children, that we took care of all their lives for 18 years. That means these dogs, their parents, and some of them, their grandparents, they have all been stolen by BC SPCA, working together with the local RCMP in a small town in British Columbia. I am Dr. Monica Marcu. I have 45 years of medical career behind me. I started my career actually at 15 with a nursing degree. I have an RN, and then I continued. I have 2 doctoral degrees in medical sciences. I'm PharmD and PhD. I took care of patients. I treated patients with cancer, from children to elderly. I mentored and taught students, fellows. I did a lot of medical research. I have a few patents, books, chapters in books, numerous scientific papers. I've done a lot in medicine, probably not complicated surgeries, but other than that, I've done a lot of work. All my life was dedicated to save, heal, treat, help somebody. I knew what I wanted to do ever since I was a child. And both me and my husband, we had a passion for German Shepherds. And we always had German Shepherds for decades. This particular group of beautiful dogs that were stolen and many murdered by BCSPCA. This group, we had it for 18 years. And I hope you can see my screen. I just wanted to share with you a few pictures.
Yeah, they're beautiful dogs.
Beautiful farm, a lot of space for them. We wanted them to be free. We brought them from Washington to BC because of the countryside. A beautiful place. We look at the puppies. This is some of my oldest dogs, my husband. It's a paradise. We built our beautiful house. We had a fantastic orchard. We brought a lot of fruit trees from cold places. This was a cold place on Fraser River Valley, and we really did the best we could for our dogs. I hope that the love we had for these dogs that are gone now is transparent here. These dogs were part of our lives. They participated in everything we were doing. We loved them. We took care of them. We trained them. These dogs were born in my hands and my husband's hands. They're eating fruits. We brought them here. It was a beautiful place. We had a lot of space for them. They were free. We had 6 fenced pens for these German Shepherds to enjoy, still be protected from wildlife, because this was, after all, was a pretty wild, beautiful place. These are my dogs. I hope the love we had for them is transparent. So just to make a long story short, I wanted to introduce you briefly to British Columbia SPCA, in case that you might not know. This is a unique situation. This organization is not like other SPCAs, especially in the United States, but not even like in Canada. They are independent. They have no oversight. They have no transparency for the government. They can take your animals, the dogs, your farm animals, horses, cows, whatever. They don't care about your animals being in the care of your vets. They will hire their own vets. They will have their own opinion. That's all it matters. They can kill your animals without ever telling you what even happened with your animals. They have no transparency, no oversight. Nobody can investigate them. The truth about this, it might be hard to believe, but I was almost killed. I was kept in a police car for hours with a high blood pressure, close to 200. I don't know how I survived. When they came with what I think even today is an invalid warrant obtained just by phoning a judge, just calling, faxing a judge to obtain a warrant to come on my property for investigation. They came on my property for an investigation because somebody, a person, called anonymously BCSPCA. Now that person, I'm not going to say her name, is a woman from Edmonton, and she has a rich criminal record. She has been to prison. She has been accused for criminal harassment, fraud, and even cheating at sport events, if you can imagine. So that woman, that criminal, called BCSPCA, and they obtained a warrant. They came on my property to investigate. But when they came to investigate, they also came with an army of people, cages and crates. And on the 30th of July last year, they stole all our work of 18 years, all my beautiful German Shepherds, our legacy, a value of over 350,000 US dollars.
Okay, so those are beautiful dogs. Anybody that has ever owned a dog, and we have, you feel guilty if you don't walk the dog as much as the dog might like. Now, beyond that, to give a dog this type of literal freedom and beauty is really, really something special. And I just want to set the stage here. So July 30th, 2024, that's the date of your first run-in with SPCA, which, guys, stands for the Society for the Protection Against Cruelty Against Animals. Okay, do you think for one second that these beautiful, healthy dogs were anything other than loved and cherished? What was the charge, Dr. Marcu, from the SPCA? When they showed up with that warrant to search your property and evidently seize these dogs, what was the charge? Under what grounds were they even there?
Yes, Sean, thank you so much. So let me clarify. When that criminal, that woman from Edmonton, called and lied about me, my house, my farm, my dogs, SPCA with the local RCMP came unannounced, so they trespassed. They didn't have a warrant first. They came on the 17th of July, unexpectedly, at 3 p.m. on my property. It was extremely hot. I was in my house resting after a whole day of work. And they told me that they want to see the dogs immediately. So that was the first trespass, remember, 17th of July. I was very busy. I had a family meeting. We were, unfortunately, it was the anniversary of 1 year, precisely 1 year after the death of my beloved husband of 35 years. In any case, I had to drop everything because they were very persistent. They came with an RCMP with guns. So the RCMP from the city, from town here, she was armed. So it was very intimidating. I dropped everything and I showed them the dogs. And I do have the reports because later on I could obtain them. The report from the local RCMP at that day, that first visit, 17th of July, was actually very good, was honest, was very positive, was showing that all these dogs, they had everything they needed. They had shelter, they had space, they had food, they had water. They were beautiful dogs. But, and I thought the story was finished because everything was good in my mind. We were very proud of these beautiful dogs. We invested a lot of time, tens of thousands of hours of work, if you can imagine. All I've done in my life was medicine and these dogs. Medicine, my patients, my students, my clinical studies, research, and then my dogs. So I thought that was done and they were leaving for good. But next day I received a letter from BCSPCA from a provincial constable with a lot of questions and requiring me to be open for them to come again in a week to see again my dogs. And listen to this. She suggested I should reduce the number of my dogs. And then she asked me for a list with all the dogs and their names and their birth dates. So that was, of course, very suspicious to me. Why would somebody from BCSPCA coming on my property, my farm, my house, on my dogs I took care of for 18 years and ask me to reduce their number? What kind of rights do they have? But then I'll show you that this is the BC government giving them all the rights. They can come on your property, investigate, steal your animals, extort you for money, put you into prison. They can do anything they want with you because the BC government gives them the right. This is a charity organization like no other. This is my husband. Look at the love. Look at the love we had for these dogs. They're all gone.
Monica, let me just interject and say that this sounds a lot like the same authority and lack of restraint and lack of oversight that the Child Protection Services, CPS, has in our nation.
Absolutely.
They can come and seize your kids just like they came and seized your dogs. But again, under what grounds? Were they actually trying to infer or claim that you were being abusive to these animals? That you were being cruel to these animals? Because that should be the only reason they would be there at all.
You would think so. You would think so. But this, and I will direct your listeners to this website of this fantastic organization. Is a new organization. You have to read there about what SPCA is really doing to farmers, to breeders, to normal families, how they steal their animals, how they extort for money because people have to pay for these animals in their care of BCSPCA while they try to claim their dogs back. So when I tried to claim my dogs back, and it took 3 months until they told me, no, you cannot have any of your dogs back because they told me that I'm not able to listen to this. 45 years of medicine. I delivered babies. I taught students. I treated patients from children to elderly. They told me I cannot take care. They cannot trust me that I can take care of my dogs that I took care for all their lives. So to answer your question, I don't have an answer. It's all unbelievable. To me, this is an abomination. This is an aberration of an organization that's supposed to be charity. They are registered as a charity organization, but they have policing powers. But they are constables. I just want to make sure. They have policing powers. They came on my property. They took all my dogs. And they extorted me from a lot, tens of thousands of dollars, because they said, well, they had to take care of my dogs while I was trying to get them back.
Let me just interject about that. That is, you know, authoritarian, totalitarian bureaucrats like this have a special place in hell. And let me just say, this same thing is happening in the United States. And I'm not talking about beloved pets and dogs necessarily, but about your car. Folks, if you get your car towed because of any reason, right, and the cops decide they need to tow your car, they have a contract with the local tow truck service that will charge you an inflated fee to tow your car, okay? So if you're really living on the bubble and your car is the only thing that's keeping you and your family alive so you can get to work, if the cops tow your car, you got to go to the impound lot. You got to bring the title, your license, and cash, and that inflated $350 tow fee plus $50 a day impound fee. Do you know how many people can't pay that and they lose their automobiles? This is a slippery slope into despotism, and obviously your treasured German Shepherds are worth a lot more to you than a car. But I just want you to know, Monica, this same thing is going on in our country, and bureaucrats are part of the problem. Bureaucrats who gleefully take part in this kind of tyranny. So you teared up a little bit earlier on, so I'm starting to get the sense of what happened to your dogs, but I truly don't know. Did they kill your dogs?
Yes, I'll get to that as well. Many...
Wait. They killed your dogs in British Columbia under the pretense that you were being cruel to your dogs? So in order to save the dogs, they seized the dogs and killed them?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the New World Order. Welcome to the New World Order, folks. In many cases, that's exactly what they're doing with CPS, Child Protection Services. They're snatching children from loving homes, some of them very poor homes, but nevertheless loving homes. And then many of those kids, like in the state of Florida and other states, are vanishing from planet Earth. Go ahead, Monica.
It's a very similar story, Sean. Many people told me that they do the same with the children. I wanted to emphasize that my dogs, I don't know what happened to them. Lack of transparency. SPCA didn't tell me anything what happened. They are not, by British Columbia laws, they have no transparency. They don't have to tell the owners what they did with my dogs. I know some died because I hired a lawyer. Actually, I had 2 lawyers. I have to say I had a lot of legal expenses, as you can imagine, trying to get my dogs back unsuccessfully. And the lawyers started to tell me when my dogs were dying. My dogs were at the pound. I mean, look at where my dogs were. My dogs were in paradise. My dogs were with us everywhere. We were hiking, canoeing, picking fruits with them. Look at this. This is our orchard, my husband. My dogs used to eat fruits. These are my dogs. They were our children. They took my children. No transparency. They never told me. I know some have died. All of them have been operated, cut, castrated, or whatever you want to say, neutered and spayed, because that's what SPCA does with the dogs. All of them have been put on anti-anxiety drugs. I mean, look at these dogs. Do you think they have been suffered? Do you think these dogs we had a lot of awarded dogs. Do you think these dogs suffered and we were cruel to them? Do you think as a medical professional taking care of babies and elderly, I was cruel to my own dogs? No. They stole my dogs and then they framed me. I will get to that story. They slandered me the next day. They filled the Canadian media with outrageous lies about me, our beautiful farm, our children. The story is so unbelievable that when I will tell you, if I get the opportunity to tell the story, you won't believe me. You think it's not possible that this would happen in Canada, a democratic and a free country. This is unbelievable what they did.
Okay, I'll interject again real quickly. And I definitely want you to share the parts of the story that are too unbelievable, in your words, to be true, but they actually happened. But I want to say something. Canada is not a free country. Australia, New Zealand, any country with a prime minister, folks, is not truly a free country. And this is all about slavery. This is slave training. This is to teach you that you are a subject of the government and you are a subject of the royal crown. Folks, the prime ministers all swear their oath of loyalty and fealty to the King of England, King Charles. Before that, to the Queen, Queen Elizabeth. Justin Trudeau did it. Mark Carney just did it, swore his fealty to King Charles. This is all about slave training. If you live in Canada, you are not free. And I feel for you. I sure wish you just stayed put in Washington State with your dogs.
I'm sorry we ever went there. Although it's a beautiful farm and the people, the Canadian people are wonderful. You are absolutely right. And I will show you that they took my dogs. Just precisely what they do now. They try to show the message with the ostriches to show me that what I say, believe, and work, and own, and did, it doesn't matter. All it matters is what the government, the British Columbia wants to be done, what SPCA dictates, because they are the bosses. And they took my dogs because after their first visit, I asked them respectfully, I don't need you. I know how to take care of my dogs. I did not want to provide a list with the names and the birth dates of my dogs. Why should I? And I didn't want to reduce the number of my dogs because these are my children. It's my property, or so I thought. These are my dogs. These are our efforts for years. This is our love, our passion. Who is BCSPCA? Who is this special provincial constable to come and tell me what I can do on my property? But I was naive, Sean, because it's exactly what you say. Canada is not a free country. They can come and take your property, hundreds of thousands of dollars work. They can slander you. They can imprison you. They can do whatever they want with you. And we, the animal owners, farmers, breeders in British Columbia, we have no rights and no protection against BCSPCA. I wanted to emphasize this. I will send a link to this wonderful organization, the Society for the Protection of Guardians of Animals, spga.ca. Please go there and read what happens to the animal owners in British Columbia. We have no rights. They took all my dogs, a huge value. They slandered me. They put me in a police car. I thought I'm losing my mind. I'm not going to hide. I was suicidal. I thought it's impossible that somebody will take my children away from me, in front of me. They had no mercy. They came with the RCMP armed. Look at my property. We worked for decades to put this together. It was full of flowers, beautiful flowers, a beautiful place. Do you know what SPCA put on the Canadian media about me? They said that this was a horrible place. They said the dogs were living in horrible conditions. They were covered in feces. That's what they said about my property. This is a beautiful place. The nature is fantastic. We had fruit trees, flowers. Look at this is our field in July, right a week before SPCA came. We're full of flowers. BC SPCA had put outrageous lies about me on all Canadian media. And, you know, I mean, imagine how I felt. I have 45 years of outstanding medical career. I did my best for humanity. And I cared for these dogs. We poured our lives and efforts on these dogs. They took them all away. They slandered me. They almost killed me. They kept me, as I said, for hours in that RCMP car, handcuffed, because I wanted to exit this world. And my blood pressure, when they brought me to the hospital that evening, was 200. Although I'm hypertensive, my blood pressure is usually very low, 11, 110. It was 200 hours after this happened. I don't know how I survived. I don't know why I survived, but I tell you, until the last breath, I will fight for justice. So far, I haven't gotten any justice, no investigation from British Columbia government. I wrote letters. I wrote complaints. Yes, the local RCMP is under investigation. They trespassed at least 3 times. Listen to this, Sean. The local RCMP has trespassed on my property without a warrant 3 times, including trespassing and entering my beautiful house without a warrant in my absence. In my absence, they entered my house without a warrant. That is British Columbia today. I want people to know. They, again, they deflated the tires of my truck. That's vandalism to me. And they did some other things. I'm not going to say the details because, again, RCMP is different from SPCA. In British Columbia, RCMP, yes, is transparent, and they have to be investigated if they do things against the people. At least that's a good part. But the BC SPCA, no. Nobody investigates them. They almost killed me, as I said. I don't know how I survived. Well, they were pulling my dogs, puppies, and my dogs, they were pulling them from their houses or kennels, wherever they were. Some of my dogs were not allowed anybody to, this one, this is Grizzly. This was 10. He was born in my hands on Valentine's Day, 2015. This dog was so good and protective. Nobody could touch him except me and my husband. They pulled him, I guess. I don't know what they did. They tased him or whatever they did with him forcibly because he wouldn't allow anybody. I could hear him crying and yelping. While I was arrested in a police car on my property, I could hear my dogs crying and yelping. I couldn't help them. And then you know what? BC SPCA, with their public relation, next day, as I said, they put on media outrageous lies and they showed pictures as they were rescuing my dogs. They said, everybody, RCMP, the RCMP put even in my medical file at the hospital, they said they rescued my dogs. How is it possible they rescued my dogs from their mother?
No, they're gaslighting you. They're gaslighting you. They're lying. They're lying because they are liars. And I have to say that these people that partake in this kind of behavior are from the pits of hell. Okay, these bureaucrats, the people you read about in books like 1984 in Brave New World, the people that are willing to take these orders are just as evil and cowardly as those who give the orders. And as we continue with your story, I just want to take a quick break and ask you about the CIFA, the Canadian Food Inspection Agency. Guys, if you don't got one coming after you, you got another coming after you, and they team up, they tag team you, and they gaslight you, and they try to gaslight the public as they're doing in the case with the 400 ostriches at the Universal Ostrich Farm in British Columbia. Here's Katie talking about the CFIA hiding with her ostriches, and the farmers have no clue what they're feeding the ostriches, what they're doing to the ostriches, and eyewitness accounts of something being sprayed on the ostriches. Listen to this.
So they're hiding in there with our animals. We don't know what they're doing. There's multiple eyewitnesses, a bunch of stuff being sprayed in there as well. We don't know what they're spraying. We don't know what they're feeding, and we don't know the actual health of our animals. So today is actually a good day, and we're going to keep this updated, all of you updated. We have a vet coming. Our vet is coming. Finally. How do you feel about that?
I'm very stoked. I'm very stoked that we get someone that we can trust on the inside.
All right, I'll pause it there. I just play that because this is sort of unfolding in real time as we're having this conversation on October 6, 2025. And Katie and her family have been battling to try to save these 400 beautiful birds from destruction at the hands of the government. And the only reason those birds are alive right now, friends, is because people in Canada, in British Columbia, mobilized and showed up at that farm to confront the demon creatures that showed up to cull those birds. So I guess my question for you, and you can do a screen share again, Monica, is what is CIFA and have they also caused you problems? I thought I read in one of your emails, you also had problems with the Canadian Food Inspection Agency. Maybe you could just help us understand the difference between the two and how they tag team, these agencies tag team to roll out this kind of tyranny.
Thank you, Sean. So I just wanted, definitely to emphasize, no, I never encountered CFIA because they take care of food animals. So basically, they wouldn't care about my dogs. I never encountered them. I did not. But the parallels between my story and the ostriches, unfortunately, is there. Now, at least, and I have to emphasize, at least CFIA, Canadian Food Inspection Agency, is part of the government, and they still have transparency, and they still can be investigated if they really trespass against the people. The difference is huge between CFIA and BCSPCA because, as I said, SPCA is supposed to police itself, which of course never does.
Yep.
BCSPCA, who is doing the stories like mine, I'm not the one. They have stolen animals from so many breeders and farmers, and then they extort them for money while the people try to get the animals back. As I said, BCSPCA has over $100 million or something in their funds because people believe the SPCA is doing a good job, and definitely some people there do a good job, but not the ones I met. So yeah, I never encountered a CFIA. They deal with farm animals, as far as I know. BCSPCA is theoretically supposed to protect. Where is SPCA now to protect the ostriches? I'm asking you. Where is BCSPCA to protect the farm animals in the industrial farming? In British Columbia, there are many industrial farms, and they are terrible. The conditions, they are terrible. I've seen 2 of them. Where is BCSPCA investigating? Why don't they investigate those animals who are really suffering? Do you think that my animals and the beautiful place and home they have, do you think they have ever suffered? Nobody here, my workers, my guests, my customers, my neighbors, nobody has seen here emaciated dogs, which really means skin and bone. Nobody has seen here animals like BCSPCA has claimed. BCSPCA has lied to the people at every single step about me, my home, my care, and my animals.
Well, let me just say something. I feel for you because I've had many people bear false witness against me, and it's very painful, but these are just Joe Schmoes or assets of the deep state. These are liars. These are people who lie with impunity. In one case, a pathological liar, and he's lied about everybody, therefore now everybody despises him. So that's his comeuppance. But in this case, being lied about by the government, I mean, that is so much worse because the government has all the power, and y'all don't have any power to defend yourself in the public square because they own the media as well. And I just want people to know that you are not taking this lying down. You're demanding an official investigation into the lawlessness that is what happened here with SPCA. So do you want to talk a little bit about this? How do you get remedy? How can we help you get remedy aside from trying to bring light to your case because you can't bring your dogs back? How can we help?
Sean, thank you so much. First of all, as I said, I want my story to be shared. I want my story to be known. It's unbelievable. And again, I haven't been through all the details. I don't know if we'll have time. There are more details, they're gruesome. What happened to these dogs, how they were drugged, operated, cut in the care of SPCA. The ones surviving were sold to strangers because in SPCA's and the BC government's view, anybody in British Columbia is better than me, Dr. Monica Marcu, who has been a mother to these dogs. They gave my dogs to strangers, of the ones surviving. I know many have passed away. They probably killed the senior dogs. Let me emphasize this, Sean, and I'll come back to your question. A third of my dogs were senior dogs. A third of them were well above the age of the lifespan of a German Shepherd today, which is 7 to 10. A third of my dogs were 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and beyond 13. I love to breed these dogs because I love to work with puppies, because you know what? I've never been a mother of human children. So, you know, my nurturing qualities and my love and compassion were really expressed by caring for the puppies of my beloved dogs. But we never lived from breeding. I never had a website, never had a Facebook page. People wouldn't know me because I didn't put them on this social media because they were my family. This was not a breeding operation. This was nothing to be cruel, nothing to be concerned. This were my children. So coming back to your question, I want my story to be told because I don't know how long I will be able to live. I have developed a serious heart disease, a stress-induced cardiomyopathy after they took my dogs and they left me without my children. I cried a lot when my husband has passed away. We were married for 35 years, together for 36, and he was the love of my life. We did everything together. But when they took my dogs, these were innocent, beautiful, beloved animals. We took care. They were born in our hands. We fed them, cleaned them, trained them, showed them, walked with them, hugged them. Look at these dogs. These dogs were in ecstasy here. BCSPCA has claimed that they were suffering and they were living in horrible conditions.
No,
and
it's
they
obvious.
were emaciated.
No, let me just interject. This is absolutely preposterous. And that's why I wanted to get you on to share your story, because you've been defamed. Okay.
Yes.
They bore false witness against you, which is, I think, one of the most abominable sins, because when somebody lies about you publicly, especially if they have a platform, it's very difficult to unwind the slander and the libel. Now, anybody who has ever had a dog and loved a dog knows the dogs you see here are in stress. They're under stress. These dogs are not happy, well cared for dogs. But these dogs, look at this dog. What a good boy. These dogs are happy dogs. These guys are living heaven on earth, being on those 155 acres. Well fed, well nourished, well loved, well cared for, beautiful coats, happy faces. These are obviously happy dogs. Now this is what happens when you go to the shelter, folks, and you want to save a dog from people like this. This is the type of dog you might adopt to give a life to that dog that might resemble what Monica and her husband did. God rest his soul. Monica, I'm going to give you the final word. You say it gets gruesome. I think we can fill in the blanks, but if there's anything else that you absolutely want people to know in the last 9-10 minutes we have left, the floor is yours.
9 or 10. Thank you, Sean. So I wanted first to answer your question, definitely. I want my story to be shared. It's unbelievable. Please share it with everybody. I don't know how long I'm going to live, and I really don't care. They took my children away. They destroyed my reputation as much as they could. They extorted me. Listen to this. It took about 3 months of trials with lawyers and all the work I've done. I had testimonies. I had witnesses, pictures, films, receipts of the most expensive food, a kana, $100 a bag of kibble. Receipts of as I purchased animals from the farmers around. All my evidence submitted to SPCA and the British Columbia government to return my beloved dogs. Everything was discarded. Everything. They even took away my registered medical service dog, who was a senior, 13 years old. If you can imagine, in most civilized countries, to remove a medical registered service dog is a crime. This is his back. His name is Kodiak. They took him away. It took 3 months. Listen to this. After 3 months, they decided, no, I am not reliable to have my dogs back. And they charged me 85,000 Canadian dollars. Listen to this, 85,000 Canadian dollars. That's what SPCA from British Columbia charged me, because they cared for my dogs. Although I know many of them have died, whatever happened to them, they have charged me $85,000 plus put the loss I had in these dogs that we cared for years, plus the legal fees. And I tell you that don't go to British Columbia to do business. This is not a free country anymore. You're going to lose your money. You're going to be probably slandered. You might just die. Look what happens now with the ostriches. Look how many RCMPs are there. What are they doing there? What is RCMP doing to guard the ostriches? It was a sort of a similar situation with me, but of course at a smaller scale. All I wanted to know, to tell the people, thank you for listening to me. There is no lie in everything I said. So help me God. We love these dogs like our children. They were robbed. They were stolen from me. They destroyed my health. They extorted me. They slandered me in the Canadian media, who takes everything what BCSPCA says as, oh, it's true. BCSPCA can do no wrong. Nobody in British Columbia has done yet any sort of investigation on these facts at all. They don't care. I have written to everybody from Attorney General to the Premier and many other organizations. They haven't done any sort of investigation. So I am grateful to the people. Take away my story. Please share my story. All I wanted, as long as I am able to still survive, I'm going to seek justice through whatever means I can. I don't really care what happens to me, because they took everything precious. What was precious to me, they took it away. Nobody deserves this. Nobody deserves this cruelty, this crimes, this despicable behavior from the RCMP, local government, and the BCSPCA. But me even less, because for 45 years, I dedicated my life to save other lives. As I said, I wrote, I did science, I taught students, I delivered babies, I saved patients, I treated patients. God only knows how much good I've done in my life. I have books and chapters in books. All my life was about doing something good. And coming to British Columbia was a big mistake. Look what happened to me. Look what happened to me. Look what happened to my dogs. They're gone. They're all gone. Thank you.
Monica, I'm terribly sorry, for your loss, and of your husband as well. And I know how devastating something like this must be. The same thing, so devastating to people who have their children snatched by CPS. And CPS, much like the SPCA, is kind of beyond the checks and balances of normal government, because you're dealing with the family courts, which is a communist court system set up, I think, by the royals outside of the jurisdiction of the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. I may not have that entirely right, but I think I have it mostly right. And that is the tyranny of the state. I would say the tyranny of the royal crown, King Charles. His fingerprints are all over this because he runs that country. Believe it or not, folks, Mark Carney doesn't run jack squat. Mark Carney does what Mark Carney does at the consent, at the pleasure of the king. Monica, is there any way that my listeners, many of whom have a lot more reach on social media than I do these days, is there any way we can put this story on blast and support you? What websites or social media handles can you share?
I would send you something. As I said, Sean, we never had a social media presence because this was my family. It's not like BCSPCA and the criminal woman who called and lied about me. As I said, a woman from Edmonton, she claimed that I had a breeding operation. This doesn't look like a breeding operation. So we didn't have a social media presence because this was my family. But I want, if they can just share the link with this broadcast, this interview you took, and all the photos. Some of these dogs are gone forever. I want them to remember my story and share it everywhere in the world. I am now sharing my story with every single country in the world. I want everybody to know how professional, loving, hardworking, honest people like me and their animals are treated in British Columbia, Canada, under the approval and the consensus of the British Columbia government. I haven't seen, again, any investigation against BCSPCA. There are other breeders after me. I don't have time to tell you, but there are many other farmers, breeders, families who have been robbed of their animals. So I want the people to share your story. This is the only social media presence or whatever, media that you could share. I do have hundreds of links with my work, my patents, my books, my publications, my awards. There are a lot on the media, but then again, there are separate items. But your your interview today with all the photos. Just share, tell them the link, and I ask everybody, please share my story. Please share my story with everybody to see what happened to my beloved children. My family was torn apart. My reputation was destroyed. I was extorted from tens of thousands of dollars under the British Columbia unbelievable, abominable laws as made by the government. They never helped me in any way. So if you can share the story, your story, it would be fantastic for me. And thank you from the bottom of my heart, Sean.
No, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. I'm sorry we didn't meet under better circumstances. Guys, honestly, Viva Fry. Do y'all know Viva Fry over on Rumble? He really
Yes.
came out of nowhere. He's exploded. He does a very good job. He interviews attorney Robert Barnes every Sunday night. He's got a big presence now on Rumble, far, far bigger than mine. And he fled Canada and moved his family to Florida because of the tyranny of the state that Dr. Marcu just recounted. Folks, Canada is a hellhole. And if you want the New World Order rolled out in your neighborhood, let them get away with what's going on in Canada. Our guest has been Dr. Monica Marcu. Monica, Godspeed. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
Friends, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. If you'd be so kind, could you pay it forward and, just get this out there in the world for the benefit of Dr. Monica Marcu. She can't get her dogs back, probably at this point. Many of them are deceased. Maybe some of them are out there alive and well. It would be terrific if she could get some of those dogs back. But the goal here is to raise awareness about the tyranny of the state and the fact that the New World Order, frankly, exactly what King Charles spawned with the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab, is what you just heard in this broadcast. You'll own nothing, but trust me, you won't be happy. Friends, thanks so much for tuning in. I'll remind you every single day for free. Check us out to get the real news, the antidote to corporate propaganda 24/7 at sgtreport.com. And until next time, may God, the creator of the heavens and the earth, may he protect and bless you and yours from these tyrants. God bless. Bye-bye.
I believe London is out of gold and London is out of silver. And at the same time, we got something we've never mentioned here. It is being the declaration of silver as a national security metal by the United States, by Russia, and by Mexico.